All right. All right. What's up, guys? We're here, baby. We made it. Morning, Drew. Hello, everybody. And welcome back to another installment of that podcast, baby. Andrew's podcast, aka Tank's podcast, Morning Drew. It's me, Andrew, or Tank, and I'm here. We made it, boys and gals. Mostly boys, according to the statistics on Anchor.com. Hello. I'm so glad you're back. I'm so glad to be back myself. It's been fun is a strong word. It's been a week. It has been a week. A roller coaster ride of a week. A lot going on, both socially and in the macro scheme and also in my life in the micro scheme. I was very close to pulling the plug on today's episode and just saying, sorry guys, it's not going to happen. I've every day since I last spoke to you, and up until today, I have worked at my job at the restaurant, and it's taken a fucking toll on your boy, man. It's really making me start to question how badly, I don't want to get too down in the dumps for you, but it does relate to today's happenings. Yeah, like yesterday I kind of felt like crud, and I was like, holy hell, I have to record. I should be fully transparent. Today is Wednesday. I am uploading this tomorrow, Thursday. When I went to bed, I was like, I might be able to record an episode. I don't know. I had a pretty nasty headache. I've had a pretty gnarly headache the last several days, which peaked today, this morning. I woke up feeling like a whole mess. Every other part of my life, while employed, I've been prone to, quote unquote, toughing it out and being like, don't be the guy that they think they can't depend on. Don't be the guy they think is gonna flake, okay? You got a headache, so what? People out there in the trenches in the war, they got grenade shrapnel in their eye. They don't care. They're fighting for their country. I can go work at my job with a silly little headache. And that is, I am realizing now, after having a year to reflect on my philosophies in life, a bullshit mentality to have about working at your job at the spaghetti restaurant or the corporate coffee establishment or the gross supermarket that your aunt got you a job working for, or most other places. I'm sure there are certain exceptions, like, I imagine there are pretty important officials that can't really take a day off if they have a nasty little headache. But I'm not one of them. I work at a spaghetti restaurant. So today, it wasn't a big deal, but it felt important to me. I was like, I'm calling out, dude, I can't do it. So I called in, I was like, hey man, I got a nasty migraine, I can't work today, I'm sorry. And he was cool about it. The guy who was in charge was just like, oh, it's cool, bro, just take some medicine, take a nap, bro. And I was like, thank you. And I'm grateful. He wanted me to feel better. He didn't want to shame me for being ill. And of course, I was ill. I felt like garbage this morning. As soon as I called out, I immediately felt worse. It's as if my body was like, oh, wait, we're actually allowed to be sick? Oh, sick. Not in the literal sense, in the, hey, that's a good thing for us sense. Anyway, go throw up. So I did. And then I slept until like 4 p.m. And my cat was very mad at me. He's like, what the fuck, man? We were supposed to be hanging out. I was like, sorry, dude. I'm tired. So I got up, and then suddenly I've got my day about me, and my feet don't feel like they're about to fucking whittle away, like fall off my ankles or something. So I did a few errands, and now I'm recording a podcast, and I'm going to keep it short, stupid, so I don't have to spend too much time editing it. And we're going to get it on the web right on schedule, dudes. It's just going to be me, though, if you haven't already picked up on that. But that's okay. I haven't had a chance to talk to myself in a while. One of the errands I had to run was messing around with my health insurance, my legally obligatory health insurance that Mr. Barack Obama said, hey, Andrew, if you don't have health insurance, I'm going to kill you. So I do it. They've been giving me shit lately. Around this time last year, when everyone lost their job, they were like, hey, Covered California, that is, I have health insurance through Covered California. They're like, hey, guys, if your income has changed, let us know, and we'll see what we can do to help you. And I was like, hell yeah, thanks the state of California and former President Barack Obama. So I told them I wasn't making butt, and they're all like, cool, you owe us a lot less money now. So I was like, sick. And a full calendar year later, they're knocking on my door again. And they're like, hey, so wouldn't it be crazy if you got your job back? Ha ha ha. Just remember you have to tell us or else you're under arrest. And I'm like, fuck. So I upload the document saying, hey, here's how much I'm making. And they're like, hey, Andrew, or this was a month later after I uploaded. They're like, hey, Andrew, so we don't believe you. Make sure you call us or we're going to kill you. So I call them. I get that straightened up. My insurance doubles in price from what it was before the pandemic. But I'm like, whatever. It's fine. And then I get a letter in the mail yesterday from the health insurance people. And they're like, Hey, Andrew, just letting you know, at the end of the month, we're charging you $300. I was not pleased to hear that, so I called up the nice folks in the Obama household, and I was like, hey, Mr. B, what's the biggie here? Why are you trying to kill me? And he was like, oh, let me check your records here. That's funny. It says here you owe us nothing. And I was like, BS, I have the letter here. You're trying to kill me, man. And he's like, no, look. And yeah, apparently Kaiser just failed to notify me that I was actually getting a fat discount. So I'm in a much better mood now because my health insurance is actually not going to cost me both of my arms and both of my legs. So it's been a roller coaster of a day. Oh, I'm also on the other side of that migraine I mentioned. I felt like shit this morning, but I feel better now. I filed my taxes, and I thought I was going to owe the government my entire house and home. Instead, I only owed the federal government a couple of bucks, and the state gave me some money. They said, thanks, Andrew. We really appreciate you. I said, I appreciate you, Mr. Newsom. I really hope that they don't try to kick you out of your house. I hope you learned your lesson after getting caught with your pants down at that winery. It's been good news here at the I forgot what we call this place. I would like to name my apartment the Bear Cave, just because Angela and I used that as our pet name, and it would be appropriate, but that name was already used for the first apartment I lived in after the dorms with shout out Michael, shout out John, shout out Eric. That was a good name. Things are coming up Millhouse, baby. We're doing okay. So, was there anything else I wanted to discuss before I got into my my shoveling business, my digging? Let's see. My job sucks. It's actually not been that bad. It's just exhausting, and the fact that I'm working so frequently is a drag. I would love to go back to when I was working like 2, 3, 4 times a week. But lately, it's just been every day. And then the one day I have off, I like sleep until the sun goes down, and then I try to scramble to tell some jokes at night. And then my cat screams at me because I've been sleeping all day. But we're making the appropriate adjustments. We're doing what we have to do for our own health and well-being. Speaking of which, I'm doing well on my diet. As of this morning, I've officially lost 20 pounds. So I'm back to maybe I never really weighed myself a lot before this current health excursion, so I couldn't tell you exactly where I was before the pandemic, but I feel like I'm at least back to the size I was at the very start of the pandemic. I think that's it. I think I just lost my quarantine weight. Like, just based on how my clothes are fitting me, I'm like, okay, this is about, I think, where I was a year ago. Normally, I would use that as cause to celebrate and get myself a tasty food treat, but instead I'm using it as motivation to power on. If I'm honest, I thought I would have lost more by now, just based on how rapidly the weight was falling off in the beginning. But one, I think they tell you that that's going to be the case, that they're like, oh, at first it's all water weight and you're building muscle, and I'm like, well, that's bullshit because I'm not weightlifting, but whatever. But also, it's kind of funny. I've gone out to eat at a restaurant twice since being vaccinated and Los Angeles County allowing indoor dining again at limited capacity, of course. And both times I stuck to my diet and did a pretty good job, actually. The first time I went to BJ's with my buddies Paul and JC. Hey, you guys met JC. I got chicken wings, keto friendly, and I got the steak salad there, and I modified it so that it didn't have any of the sugary sauces or anything like that. Totally legit. And then I had a whiskey with Diet Coke, which, according to online sources, should be fine. And then the second time I went out to eat, where did I go? I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, which I regret because it was very sad in there, but that doesn't change that I went. And I got the buy one, get one free wings that they do on Tuesdays with half the spicy garlic sauce and half with no sauce at all. And I also got a whiskey with Diet Coke. Both times I went out to eat were the only time I've had any alcohol at all, possibly this year. Maybe not. At least in the last several months, since before Lent. And both times, the following day, I lost like 3 pounds. And I was like, I beat the system, baby. Chicken wings for life, whiskey diet for life. And then the following day, I gained the 3 pounds back plus a few more. And I was like, these things happen. I probably just fucking haven't taken a big enough shit yet. And then the following day, the third day after having gone out to eat, I gained another pound or so. And I was like, okay, this has to be related to that whiskey. I don't know if it's fucking with my blood sugar or what, but it's good to know. It happened both times. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the sauce until I am making big enough leaps towards milestones. I'm also going to avoid going out to eat. But who knows? There's special occasions coming up, so there may be a few cheat days coming up, which I need to be careful about. But, I'm feeling good about the progress I'm making. My clothes fit better. I am more flexible, more spry, and that's fun. That feels nice. But enough showing off. Let's talk about what I've been digging, dude. That's why we're here, isn't it? Last week, I talked about Pokemon with my friend JC for more than an hour, and it was very fun. I think we had a good time, and it really got me wanting to play some goddamn Pokemon. What I ended up doing is there is a website called Pokémon Showdown. That's basically a PvP battle, you could call it simulator, except you are playing against real people on the other end. It's basically the Pokemon battle system that exists in the video games themselves, except it's a lot faster paced because you can fast forward through animations, and it's got all of the Pokemon, so you don't actually have to grind through the game and get the good Pokemon with the good IVs and train them up and do this and all that and get all the items. It's all in there for you. You just have to type in what you want and the game makes it for you, and you could build teams that way. And there's also all kinds of different types of battling you could do. My favorite is to use the random battles, where the website just every single time you press play to play against someone, it gives you a random team of 6. And each of those 6 Pokemon is given a viable moveset with the viable item and stuff. They make it usable. They don't just give you They don't just give you a Bulbasaur and leave you to die. They give you stuff you can actually use, and they give you a team of 6, and they give the other guy or lady a team of 6, and it's what's the word? They don't show you what Pokemon the other team has. It's entirely private. No. A mystery, withheld, I don't know. You don't know what they have until they put it onto the field. And it's very, very fun. It kind of levels the playing field because you can't just sweep with one guy. Well, you can sometimes, but it's just very fun. It's my favorite way to do it, but sometimes you get unlucky and you just get a dog shit team. There's not much you can do about it. It's random in that way. Even though each Pokemon in its own right is usable, sometimes you just get 4 grass types, and the person you're playing against just leads with a very strong fire type, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you either get swept or you can forfeit right away. Or you could try to be a god gamer and play, but that's the beauty of the game, I guess. I've been playing that because it's very fun. And also I could play it on my computer. It's a lot easier to turn it on and off. I could just exit the browser and be like, I'm done with this fucking game. Which happened because I had some pretty rotten luck. There was one game I was playing where there's a move in the game called Fire Blast. It is 85% accurate, but it's pretty strong, and a lot of Pokemon that are not fire types get it, so you get pretty good coverage. So if they switch in a grass type on you, thinking that it's safe, you can just nuke them with Fire Blast. I was having a really hard time getting past this person's grass type. They were using, it's called a Shynotic. Grass and Fairy, it specializes in a strategy called stalling, where they just keep recovering health, whether it's through their item or through certain moves or by using draining moves to take health from you onto itself, while also using a move that whittles down the other player, whether that's through a move called Leech Life, which takes health from the opponent and gives it to you, or through Toxic, which is a poisoning move, which drains your health incrementally more and more as your Pokemon stays on the field longer. Or by burning you, same idea. It was very annoying, and I was having a tough time getting past it. And so I had a Pokemon on the field that had the move Fire Blast. I clicked it once, it missed. I said, okay, 85% accurate, but I missed? Sure. That's Pokemon for you. Thankfully, this Pokemon I'm using is very bulky, so I survived this hit, and I can just press Fire Blast again. Missed. 85% accurate, huh? But I missed twice in a row? That's cool. Great game. Love Pokemon. Let me just keep playing. It was still a pretty good battle overall. I would have won if I had hit any one of those 2 Fire Blasts, but so be it. But we're wearing on, and he reaches a point where he grabs the upper hand, and he kind of has me backed into a corner. I come up with like a Giga Brain strategy to just win, because his Shiinotic is on the field, and I'm having trouble breaking past it. I know it has a Grass-type move and a Fairy-type move, and what I have left on my team is a Water and Ground-type Pokemon called Whiscash, which is double weak to Grass, obviously, and I also have a Dragon and Normal-type Pokemon called Drampaw. Normally, you don't want to switch Dragon types in on Fairy types, because Fairy types are super effective against Dragons, but because I have this Water and Ground type Pokemon, I'm like, he is going to use a Grass move. And what's special about this Dragonmon I have is it has an ability called Sap Sipper, which, if you use a Grass type move on it, it boosts its special attack by 1. And another thing about this Drampaw I have is that it also carries the move Fire Blast. So I'm like, that's how I win, is I switch in my Whiscash to bait out the Grass type move that it's going to use. And then I switch into Drampaw, get the Sap Sipper boost, and I know my Drampaw is faster because another nice thing about this website is it shows you the speed stats as well as the maximum speed stats that the other player can possibly have, or at least a range. So I do exactly that. I put in the Whiscash. They use the move Energy Ball, which is a Grass type move. But then I switch out the Whiscash, put my Drampaw in. He gets the Sap Sipper boost. I click Fire Blast. Miss. 85% accurate move. I should be hitting this move 85% of the time, and I miss thrice, 3 times in this game. And normally I don't like to talk shit on these things, but this website does have a chat function. A lot of times people use it to talk shit. Sometimes they use it to compliment your teams. You could use it for whatever reason you want. It's chat. And normally I just stay silent just because I don't like playing that type of game with people. But I literally just messaged. I was like, all right, man, GG, this game hates me. Or something along those lines. I think I actually just left it at LMAO GG. Because they had to know. They had to know. Come on. They saw this fucking master. I played the shit out of him in that move. I made some dumb mistakes earlier in the game. And I also missed those 2 Fire Blasts. But it was fine. And so I stopped playing for that day. I was like, all right. I guess I don't want to play Pokemon. But then the next day I was like, oh, let me try again. I'd like to at least get a couple of W's. And so I play again, and I forget the Pokemon that I had exactly, but I had a Pokemon that had the move Play Rough, which is a Fairy-type move, and the other Pokemon would have been weak to Fairy. I don't remember if it was a Fighting type or if it was a Dragon type. I don't remember, but basically, they use Fire Blast against me, and it hits, and it takes a big chunk because it's a pretty strong move, but I survive it. And I use Play Rough, which is a 90% accurate move, and it misses. And so I'm like, all right, the Showdown gods are not smiling on me right now. Maybe I don't play this game. I think I still played the rest of that game. I think I lost. I probably lost. I did get a couple of W's over the course of a few days, but, that's human nature, is you don't really remember the good stuff as often as you remember the bad stuff. Yeah, I've been playing that game. It's fun. I recommend it, especially for newbies. Like, those random battles are pretty nice. And it really gives you an idea of how to use certain Pokemon. It's made me a lot better just in general as far as my knowledge database goes and stuff. It's fun. What else have I been digging? I watched that documentary, The Last Dance, about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls of the 1990s and briefly prior. It was awesome. I really enjoyed that a lot. It's been a while since I've watched a show where I just wanted... I mean, I guess binge watched is the term, but it's like every time an episode ended, I was like, well, I gotta watch the next one. So I watched it. Man, watching people who are insane really makes one feel like a piece of garbage, huh? Like, Michael Jordan playing when he had, like, fucking food poisoning and when his dad died and things of that nature, and being like, but I gotta win because I gotta be the best and I can't let so-and-so think they're better than me. It's very motivating in certain ways, and so I was like, you know what? I could be like the Michael Jordan of stand-up comedy. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to write jokes. I'm going to do stand-up. I'm going to be the best. And so the next day or two, I, try to stick to it. and I feel good and I'm doing it. But then eventually I wake up one morning and I'm like broken. I'm like, what kind of person do you have to be to do this every single day? Fuck this. And it's just a testament to how insanely motivated and insanely insane some of these individuals are. And I was talking to a couple coworkers about it, and one of them was like, "Yeah, man, people like that and Kobe Bryant and them, it's like it's no wonder they get to the top. They're crazy." And I was like, "Yeah, he gets it." But then I spoke to another coworker, and he's really nice. He means well. He's a large fella, and he likes to make small talk. He's one of those dudes that will ask you a random question, and when you're starting to answer it, he'll just nod his head and walk away. And I'm like, cool. Like the other day, he was like, "What are some of your vices?" And I was like, well, I eat too goddamn much, and I do this, and I hate myself, and blah. And he's just like, "Wow," and just leaves the room. And I'm like, was that me? Was I overbearing there? But there have been other times where he's like, "What's your favorite anime?" And I'm like, "Well, I watched The Evangelion the other day, and it was pretty cool." He was like, "Neat." Bow. I'm like, "Do you actually want to talk to me, or is this just your personality? Am I just giving like exclusively wrong answers?" Could be any of them. But he asked me if I'd seen anything good lately. I forget exactly his question, but I was like, "Well, I watched The Last Dance." And I shared with him exactly what I just shared with you about my observation about how crazy some of these people are and how it carries them. And then I told him how I was like, "Yeah, and I did it for a day or two, and then after blah, 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 I felt bad." And he was like, "Nah, man, that's just your body trying to resist greatness, man. You have to stick to it, all right? Because if you could get past that barrier, dude, you can really take it to the next level, dude. And then who knows, no one can stop you. You know, you'll be just like them." And I was like, you know what? When Michael Jordan said it, I said, nah. But now that you've said it, my plus-sized coworker at the spaghetti restaurant, now I know that I really can't be stopped. I'm gonna go shoot hoops right now. But he's a cool dude. We get along fine. The Last Dance was cool. The '90s Chicago Bulls were really cool. Space Jam was cool. Being from that area, I've always rooted for the Golden State Warriors, and like I just happened to stop keeping up around the time that they became the best team in basketball, which can put a bad taste in one's mouth. But I'm happy that they're succeeding. It's certainly interesting to watch from afar. I don't know how they are now. Another thing I'm digging in this past week is I've been playing with a bunch more of my coffee related toys. Like for Christmas last year, Angela gifted me a cold brew kit from Toddy. Toddy is the stuff that Starbucks uses to make their cold brew. So she just got me like a household version of it. And I made a few batches right away, and they're really good. They are a bit of a hassle in certain ways. Like the cleanup's not that bad, but you have to clean the equipment itself. And they're a bit cumbersome in the way that they are shaped. And storing them and taking them out of and into storage is a bit of a pain. And it's also kind of sucks how much coffee you have to commit to it, because I use a service called Trade, drinktrade.com or whatever. They've advertised on a lot of internet programs, but I like it. I use it just because I like trying different types of coffee. They send you 12-ounce bags every amount of time that you opt for. And I really enjoy using different methods to make it. I make espresso with them. I do pour-overs. I just bought a new toy that I've been using. But with cold brew, you have to commit anywhere from 8 ounces to 16 ounces of coffee to make a batch of cold brew. And it seems like an inefficient way to use coffee. To me, at least. Because, maybe it's just because cold brew is a lot more popular in my household. So Angela's drinking it, I'm drinking it. Dwayne the cat's drinking it. We bring some to the vet when we have to get his stomach pumped. Because of all the caffeine he drank. That's not a true story. But in going to Costco, I bought a big-ass fucking bag of Pete's Coffee, the Major Dickinson blend, and I made a batch of cold brew with that. And it was awesome. I love cold brew coffee, dude. I still don't think it's worth it with some of these fancy coffees that I've been getting online. But to make a big bulk batch of fucking corporate cafe coffee, fucking rules. It was so good. I'm probably going to do another batch because I bought a 2-pound bag at Costco. So I'll do another batch, but I've been using my other toys in the meantime. I also bought an AeroPress. AeroPress is a like plunger style coffee. Like you make it similarly to how you make a French press, except it's an actual like rubber plunger at the bottom. And the bottom has a filter and an opening that you place on top of your mug or other drinking device that pours the coffee straight into it. And it tastes clean than a motherfucker, dude. Like, it comes out as concentrated coffee, so you can either drink it as what they call espresso-style coffee, or you can add water to it to make a regular cup of coffee. and it tastes great. An AeroPress at Target or other places is only $30. And it's awesome. I highly recommend it. It's easy as fuck. You just have to have a means of grinding your coffee or getting pre-ground coffee if you must. And so I've been using that, but I underestimated how strong the coffee it makes is, because I'm a big glutton, so if the thing is like, make sure you only make one, I'm like, of course I'm making two. So the first day, I made a 2-serving thing, which should equate to 16 ounces of coffee, which it did. And I drank that, and I was like, that's good. Then a motherfucker, you know your boy's gonna have another one. So I made another one, and that made me fucking stare into the face of higher beings. And they're like, Andrew, why'd you drink all that coffee? And I was like, I'm sorry, God. I didn't think it was too much coffee. And God was like, if you do this again, I'm smiting you. I was like, fuck. I hate to be smote. So I've been trying to be a little more disciplined with that, but it's hard not to because the coffee is so fucking delicious, man. Ugh, get yourself an AeroPress. It's invented by the same guy who made the Aero Ring. Aero is spelled A-E-R-O. And the Aero Ring is just a Frisbee, except without the middle part. It's just a big ring. And that's a real popular toy. I had one of those when I was growing up. I had friends who had that. And that same guy, with his Aero Ring riches, was like, I'm going to invent the perfect coffee tool. Perfect is a strong word, but he made a damn fine one, if you ask me. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. I just love coffee, dude. I just really love it so much. I really love that I have this fun hobby now that I have no desire or intention to try to monetize. It's like, I just like coffee. I like to drink good coffee. So I have all these fun coffee toys, and I get these fun coffee blends, and I drink it, and I savor it. It's a blast. Get yourself a hobby, dudes. I had a coworker ask me, they were like, hey, Andrew, where's your favorite place to get coffee from? And my first thought is, if I tell him that I don't have one because I make very good coffee at home, he will not want to be my friend anymore. So I cannot give that answer. So I just like paused and I was like, I mean, they all serve different purposes. And I tried to give that honest answer because that's the honest truth, is I get different things depending on which place I go to. Coffee Bean has a killer iced blended. I get the hazelnut. I like that they have the crushed ice there. However, their cold brew is lacking. I don't mind the cold brew at Starbucks. It's kind of my go-to thing because I don't trust the fucking teenagers that work there, considering how long I worked there, and I know how fucking dumb the teenagers who work there are. I get just the cold brew because how hard is it to put the cold brew in the cup? Pete's makes a fine at-home bean. I don't remember having ever gone to a Pete's and actually getting a coffee from Pete's, but I like the Major Dickinson blend. It's my best grocery store coffee to get to make espresso with. It's the best bean for making cold brew with so far. I haven't tried many others. But yeah, like I couldn't give the true answer, which is I make coffee. I make pretty killer coffee at home. It's fun. And I haven't been to a cafe in more than a year because of fucking COVID. And now that I have internet and coffee at my apartment, I don't really have a need to. I'm sure the need will come again and I'll go again, but that'll happen when it happens. No hate, no ill will. They all serve their purpose. And that's all I have written down, boys and goyles. So at this point, typically, I tell some jokes, right? Unless I can think of something else. But I feel like I spoke a lot. So let's go ahead and tell some jokes. Dudes and dudines. I wasn't feeling well these last few days, so I didn't write jokes on those days, but I did write some other jokes. Last week, I shared the joke I wrote about having a fear of commitment, but not wanting to commit to that as a title, which I don't think is that crazy of a concept, and I think it's pretty fucking funny. But I told it on stage a few times, and it gets nil. Nobody likes it. I don't know if they don't get it, or if it's the way I'm presenting it, or what. But that I need to tinker with further, because I think it's a pretty funny concept. And then here's a joke I wrote. Here we go. Apple stopped including phone chargers with the new iPhones. Now, when your battery gets low, you can either fork over $30 or hope you get struck by lightning. I think that's kind of corny, but it's topical. And I also think it's a wasted opportunity using the word lightning without also touching on the lightning cable or the lightning port in iPhones. But when I presented that joke to my peers, they were too distracted by the fact that they did not know that Apple stopped including chargers with the new iPhones. The honest truth is that they are only going to stop carrying the brick that you plug into the wall itself. They are still including the cord that you can plug into your laptop or whatever other brick you happen to have in your home, which are not terribly hard to come by these days. What's lame as fuck is that Apple is using the excuse of like environmentalism to be like, look how much metal and plastic we're saving. It's like, fuck you. If you actually cared about that shit, man, that's not the conversation I'm trying to have. What I'm trying to say is this joke I wrote was dog shit. I was given a new phone, free of charge. It had a dead battery. It was free of its charge. That's the joke. See, sometimes I have to explain the joke, because otherwise you don't think it's funny. I was a good kid growing up in that I had the same behavior of a baby goat. That's a good kid right there. I eat vegetables, because I'm told that they're good for you. So far, the only proof I have is when I tell people I ate a carrot, they say, good for you. An update to Google Earth show how climate change has affected the world. For example, if you zoom in real close, you can see that around this time last year, I was wearing a jacket. Instagram is testing a feature that lets users choose if they want to see likes. I thought they'd disabled likes weeks ago, because ever since I started posting my jokes there, I haven't gotten any. Fuck, I don't want to say it again. I haven't seen any. Because gotten implies that I know I didn't get them. I haven't seen any implies that I thought that the feature was that I didn't see them. Okay, so pretend I said seen instead of gotten, because I'm not going to tell that joke again. The chances of getting a blood clot is higher from getting COVID than it is from getting the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And even higher are the chances from the stress I'm getting reading these goddamn headlines. When does it end? It doesn't end. The first ever monkey-human hybrid embryo was created in a lab by scientists. Their intention was to be able to grow transplantable organs, but it's always nice to have more options for the ways the end of times will befall humanity. And in this joke, the first ever monkey-human hybrid was made in a lab, but I was born 30 years ago. I've been doing fine. It's me, I'm the monkey. Ooh, ooh, banana. This is not the joke that I just laughed at, because the joke that I did laugh at was a roast of a friend of mine that I wrote down because I didn't want to tell him to his face, because it's mean. But here's a joke I did write that day. I said, my dream partner is a combination between Bill Gates and Halle Berry. Smart, rich, successful, and with the smoking hot bod of Bill Gates. That's an obvious joke. It's not terribly good in my opinion, but it's a misdirect no less. And I'm here to share it with you, my fine listeners, here at Morning Drew. Thanks for being a part of it, team. I love you so much. I'm not done yet, but I'll tell you the roast. I like this roast. Okay. My comedian friend has Bell's palsy. Half of his face doesn't work, just like half of his jokes don't work. Roasted. You got roasted. You got roasted. That's not the only way you like a jive turkey, my man. You got roasted. People tell me my problem is that I have a big heart. Well, not people. Mostly just my doctor. I have a big heart, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. I am very vulnerable to heart attacks. It's just on my sleeve, it's huge. My heart still races when my wife enters the room. In fact, my whole body races into a different room. I hate my wife. Psych. Oh yeah, this is a headline I saw. A group of otters at the Georgia Aquarium have tested positive for COVID-19. Staff began to grow worried when they noticed the otters were going belly up. Hey man, that's fun. That's funny, man. Come on. Hey man, I don't care. I don't care who you are. That's funny right there. Oh, but it's just impossible to get them to socially distance when they look so cute holding hands like that. Did you guys see that video of the otters holding hands? You must have seen it by now. It's like 10 years old. Attempts to vaccinate the otters were foiled when they kept smashing the vials with little rocks on their tummy. You know that's how otters eat, right? They use a little rock, they smash the clam and the urchin on their stomach, on their belly, their tummy. Even worse is the diabetes epidemic among otters now that they keep feeding them donuts every day. I'm killing it with these headline jokes, boys. I just love otters. I like otters. So I wrote a lot of jokes about otters. Yeah, and then I skipped a couple days because I wasn't feeling well, so I think that's all the jokes I'm going to share with you guys. Let's see. Oh, perfect timing. We're about at an episode length sized episode here. Team, I fucking love you. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I know this podcast is it sure is something. Huh? But it's fun for me, and I think it's good for me too. And having your support is enormous. So thank you so much. It's so nice to know that I have friends who support me. And I'll make you proud. I'm working hard, team. I'm going to make you proud. If you haven't already, subscribe. I'm sure you have, but I still appreciate it. Hit me on Twitter at Drew J. Fahey. I'm on Instagram too at Tank J. Fahey. Thanks, guys and gals. Thanks, all of you. Drink water. Are you drinking water? You gotta drink water, dude. It's so good for you. I love water. Hot water, cold water, room temperature water. Perfect for chugging. It just tastes great to me. What? It doesn't taste good to you? You're insane. Well, here's a trick. Here's a little life hack for you. Put a little lemon in there. You thought about that? Little lemon? Huh? I don't know, man. That might just change your life.